Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Vintage Cube draft. Now, we have several strong picks in this opening pack here. We can take Rafellos if we want to go mono green. It's a pretty compelling reason to go mono green. There's a Ponder, which is not a great opening pick if you want to go blue, but it's not bad. We have Dak Faden, which is arguably one of the strongest cards in this pack. We've got Good White Removal and Unexpectedly Absent, and like Seasoned Pyromancer and stuff. I just drafted green for my last Vintage Cube I played while on stream for St. Patrick's Day, so I think I'm going to go with Dak Faden. Ponder might technically be the card I take if I'm more open, but Dak Faden is just so strong. Like, 3-mana Mind Control and Artifact is really good. Well, we could have had Rafellos Natural Order. That would have been insane. I think I'm going to take Ashiok, and I'm going to start picking towards like a Grixis Planeswalker-y control deck. There's an Inkwell Leviathan and a Cryptic Command in this pack, both of which I'd be happy to have. Kai'Sail Freebooter would be decent, but I'm going to take Ashiok. For some reason, my face looked weird on camera today, and I think it's because I like actually trimmed up my beard and made it look somewhat reasonable, but I don't know, just like the light reflection's different and it's bothering me right now. So Solemn Simulacrum would be a good pick. Chart of Course would also be a good pick. Muldrifter is great, and really even like Phyrexian Rager or Porcelain Legionnaire I would take under certain circumstances. I don't think I'll need to scrub land. I'm going to look for mostly on color fixing, but I am going to take Opposition. If I have black, there's a very, very strong argument for taking something like Bitter Blossom along with Opposition. It could be incredibly powerful. There's not as many token generators in these colors, but we could always get a young Pyromancer and some cheap spells, that sort of thing. So, alright. So Burst Lightning is great removal. So is Shatterskull Smashing. There's a Dig Through Time and a Riftwing Cloudskate. I don't want to pass Burst Lightning, but I'd like having access to like a Dig Through Time or Treasure Cruise if I'm going to go for like the controlling deck. I could also take Valky, because he is a Rakdos and Planeswalker and would fit in a Planeswalker control deck, and his front half is like not unreasonable versus some decks. You know what? I'm going to try it. I did say Planeswalker control, and I'm picking cards that I would call Planeswalker control-y. Commit to Memory's border appears messed up. I'll take Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. We saw him have like a really, really strong synergy with Time Walk the last time I picked him, so I do like Looter Eelcore. I wouldn't splash for Lightning Helix. This isn't really an Eidolon deck. Probably not a Thassa's Oracle deck, but Looter is generally never a bad creature if you're playing blue. There's a Lava Claw Reaches, which is fixing. Porter. Begging me to throw a toy for him. I think because I am going to go Grixis, I am going to take Lava Claw Reaches, because there's no way this deck works without fixing at all. High Tide, not really Storm. Cabal Ritual, not really Storm. So, we'll take Lava Claw and see what happens. I'm actually not opposed to taking Manamorphose. I could also take Treasure Cruise. Manamorphose I like because it synergizes with Jace. It helps fixing, which is something that might be an issue in our deck. Especially for only like... If we're not splashing red, it's better. Yeah, I'm going to take Manamorphose over Treasure Cruise, which I know a lot of people would disagree with, but I think it is generally better here. I'm going to take Kroxa, because it's the only like on-color card right now. Freebooter is good. I don't think I would take Thousand Year Storm for this deck, as funny and awesome as it would be. We don't have enough stuff to flashback with Dark Dwellers yet either. And we do kind of want to be somewhat creature-heavy because of Opposition. Like, it's an incredibly strong card. So I'm going to take Porcelain Legionnaire. It's the only card in that pack I could actually play. We have our pick of Dig Through Time or Burst Lightning again. I'm going to take Burst Lightning because I do want, like, I'm going to need removal, and Burst Lightning is a cheap spell, whereas Dig Through Time is nothing without cheap spells and, like, fetch lands and stuff. I guess I would take a Steamkin for the sideboard, Eidolon for the sideboard, and Vryn Ringmare, which we're not going to play. Alright, Pack 2. So in Pack 2, we opened a Tinker. We also opened a Wheel of Fortune. I think I take Snapcaster Mage out of these picks. It's super good with Opposition. It's in theory good with some of the other cards we could be playing. I don't like Toxic Deluge as much if we're going to be going for the Opposition plan. Of Coercive Portal is strong, Wheel is strong, but we have no artifact mana or any early advantage to take care of Wheel. We have no artifacts whatsoever, which makes Tinker awful. If we were more controlling and not creature-based, I would probably take Toxic Deluge or Coercive Portal or something. But I think Snapcaster is our best bet here. I really like Mana Leak. There's Bitter Blossom, though. Bitter Blossom opposition just seems mean. There's also a blue fetch, but we have no duels yet. I do like Shieldbreaker. I would play Shieldbreaker in this deck as well. There's some chance that Bitter Blossom wheels, but Mana Leak will not. I think I still take Bitter Blossom because the effect is just so strong. We can also be on the lookout for something like a Fallen Shinobi to help take advantage of our cheap flyers in Freebooter and Bitter Blossom. I do like Dismember. Dismember is strong. We're not an Entomb deck. I would also like take Duress. I think I'm going to go with Dismember because we are a little bit light on removal. We really only have Burst Lightning. Even though it's going to take a lot of our life to cast, I think it's worth it. I mean, we are playing black, so like we can choose not to pay life in some circumstances. Blackcleave Cliffs is good fixing for us. Ophiomancer is great. It's effectively 2 creatures for opposition. It like locks up the board. I definitely think we're going to need some red fixing though. Especially if I ever plan on getting Kroxa back from the grave. I'm gonna start picking fixing much higher so I can actually play the cards I already have. Like opposition's double blue and I have no blue fixing yet. Which we can remedy by playing a lot of islands if we have a lot of like black-red fixing. Okay, Rakdos Return is strong. There's a Woe Strider. It's not really a Woe Strider deck. We don't have enough cheap cards for Grim Lavamancer. Rakdos Return would be better if I'd had that Cabal Ritual or a Dark Ritual. Is there anything in this pack that would be better? We are going to have a number of creatures, so I probably just take Jitte here. And then hope to wheel like Rakdos Return, Woe Strider, I guess. Yeah, I'll take Jitte. We've seen how broken Jitte can be. Dreadhorde Arcanist, we have like nothing to flashback stuff with. Like we have Burst Lightning. Zealous Conscripts, there's Splinter Twin. Right now we're just kind of splashing red. I can take Click and that makes it easier to justify blue, and Click is a strong effect. I don't think I'm going to get the Splinter Twin combo. Like, I could take Splinter Twin here, and then I could hope to try and find a... I guess with opposition, that could be really good. I'll take Splinter Twin. We'll speculate on it. I'm missing out on a Click, and, I mean, not really sure what I should be doing at this point. I'm just trying to move in, like, towards a control direction. Brazen Borrower or Miscalculation or Swift Spear. I could also take Imperial Seal. Brazen Borrower is really strong. It's a very effective creature and removal. I have no counterspells, though, at all. And I would like to have at least one. We missed out on Mana Leak. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Miscalc over Brazen Borrower. Nah, I gotta take Brazen Borrower. It's just too strong to ignore. Okay, we have Abbot of Carroll Keep, Languish, Wildfire, Empty the Warrens. So we're not reanimating. We don't have white for Vindicate. Abbot draws us a card, but we're probably going to have trouble resolving that card. I could take a board wipe in the form of Languish. It would not be a bad thing to have. I could also take Yorion. If we had more 1-mana spells, I think I would take Abbot, but I'm going to take Languish. I may or may not main deck it, depending. Banefire we can use as removal. There's also Agadeem's Awakening, which we can use to reanimate a bunch of creatures, potentially. Like, having a spell land is not really ever a bad thing, but I think I want Banefire just to use it even as removal. We don't have a bunch of mana to, like, ramp into it or anything, but sometimes just, like, Banefire for 2 to kill a Thalia is enough. I'm kind of hoping Zealous Conscripts comes around for Splinter Twin. So, Embereth, Shieldbreaker, or Thrawn Dynamo. We have no reason to go big on mana right now. I think I'll take the Shieldbreaker. It's generally played in more aggressive decks, but I could actually see it working in a deck like ours. So I will take it. Like, we can Battle Display to destroy a big mana rock, like a Thrawn Dynamo or a Grim Monolith or something, and then we can play the creature and then have access to opposition to, like, tap permanents and stuff like that. Magda, Brazen Outlaw. She makes treasures. She's just probably a little bit more aggressive than I'm going to be playing. I mean, I'm not playing Burning of Jinye. and I'm not playing anything else in this pack, so I will take her, but I don't know if I would be playing her. Avalanche Riders... Yeah, I guess I could play it. I would really like some blue fixing, like an Underground Sea or a Volcanic Island plus like a blue fetch would go a really long way to making this deck a lot better than it is. I'll take a Grim Lavamancer, but Grim Lavamancer is not very good in this deck right now because we don't do a lot to fill the grave, which I guess even means Kroxa is not that great, but Dreadhorde Arcanist came around, Fauna Shaman to the side. So I would like a Thoughtseize, I would like, I guess Repeal would work. Mind Sculptor is a great top end, but we're already kind of having trouble justifying our blue cards. So I guess I could take more blue and try and make that work. I could also take Repeal. There are no Splinter Twin cards in this pack other than Imperial Recruiter, but I don't think I would play Imperial Recruiter. I guess I could. Yeah, we'll take Jace. Mox Diamond is nice and does fix for us, but I don't really want to accept the card disadvantage right now. Okay, what do we got in this pack? We have a Rishadan Port, Thirst for Knowledge, Baumet Courier, Angrath's Rampage, a Braid, Spirebluff Canal. I think a Braid is probably the best card for us here. Like, we're really heavy in the 2-drop slot, but if I wasn't taking a Braid, I would probably be taking Rampage or Spirebluff Canal. I guess I should take Spirebluff Canal, because I do technically have enough playables. Something from this pack should wheel for us, be it a Braid, Rampage, Thirst, Gonti, Baumet Courier, and we really need fixing. So I'm going to take Spirebluff, even though it's not that great. Okay, there's about 4 good cards in this pack for us. 5, maybe. There's Scarab God, Pack Rat, Bolt, Bloodchief's Thirst, and then like Sword of Fire and Ice. I'm going to take Bolt because we definitely need more removal, and Bolt can at least go face. Like, we have Arcanist, we have Snapcaster Mage, so like this is probably going to be good. Pack Rat can win the game by itself, but I think we have enough cards that are like that in the 2-mana slot. I'm going to take Lightning Bolt. Okay, there's Pestermite. There's also Factor Fiction. I think if I'm going to make Splinter Twin work, I need to take Pestermite and probably need to find one other card that it's good with. So, like, I have to find Deceiver Exarch or not Zealous Conscripts, not Restoration Angel. Is there another card that works with Splinter Twin? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's mostly free to be playing Pestermite, so I'll take Pestermite. Okay, so in this pack we could take Chandra, Fallen Shinobi, Force of Negation. I could take Force of Negation, and I think it would do reasonably well. I'm hesitant to do so because we don't have that many blue cards, so it's not going to be a free counterspell that often, and it's a double blue-pipped spell, so like it just being a cancel is not going to be good enough, I think. So I think I should take Fallen Shinobi because of how many creatures we have. At least one of them should, in theory, be able to hit our opponent. If we were a little bit slower or a little bit more control-y, I would probably take Chandra, but I think Shinobi is going to be best for us. Like, Shinobi's insane. If it does connect with your opponent, it generally just wins you the game on the spot. This is also not a Chrome Mox deck. Rabble Master is a good card. There's also Murderous Rider. I think we're going to keep black down to single pips other than maybe like Dismember or Languish if we need it out of the side. So I don't think I'm going to take Murderous Rider here. I do like Rabble. It's better if we had a Mox. And we were trying to like go out early, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. It's not really a Desperate Ritual deck or Mana Flare, and I do not like Cosima, not in this cube, so I'll take Rabble Master. Mizu Mortars is good removal, so is Char, and Char can go face. I could actually take Skull Clamp because we have Bitter Blossom, and we do have some number of creatures with 1 toughness, and could use it to help fill the grave. But I think having access to the big burn spell is better, and then I can, like, play it over something like Banefire. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Char. I've never been a huge fan of Skull Clamp, so... Okay, I can take Deceiver Exarch, and we'll have a pretty good twin deck. Fire and Ice would be nice, but all of the rest of these... Like, nothing in this pack is gonna wheel to me, because we only get 1 pick from this pack. So I'm gonna take Deceiver Exarch. Imperial Recruiter can find a whole bunch of different stuff, but I don't know if it's good enough for us to just play. We don't have fast mana for Stonecoil Serpent, so I guess I can take Imperial Recruiter from this pack. I could also take Bone Shredder if I was worried about my removal, but it got a little better with, like, Bolt Dismember and stuff. I'll take Recruiter, but I don't know if I'm playing him. A Braid is great. Could take Courier, could take Port, but I'm going to take a Braid. Goblin Guide is the only card really in our color here, but I don't think I'm going to play it. It's just too much potential card draw for our opponent, and I don't think we're that aggressive. I guess I could become that aggressive if I was going to take Sulfuric Vortex, which I am. Figure in the side. I guess Cosima. We don't really have a lot of use for the ritual. And a Kasali Pride Mage we aren't playing. I'm really glad I took that Spire Bluff Canal, just so that I might actually be able to cast some of my spells on occasion. Alright, so what are we cutting here? Let's start by removing Languish, Banefire, Avalanche Riders, Shieldbreaker, Magda, Lavamancer, because Lavamancer, like, we don't have fetches for Lavamancer, we don't have cantrips, and we only have 2 1-mana spells, so I really think that it's not that likely that we actually get to play him all that often. And now I'm stuck only cutting, like, 2 cards, and we have an actually good deck. They probably ought to be non-creature cards. Manamorphose, let's see. I think I'm going to cut Kroxa, because the front half of Kroxa is not powerful enough, and it does give us some inevitability, but we don't fill the grave that hard. And I think without a double black mana pip spell in this deck, Dismember obviously doesn't count, I probably don't need Manamorphose. And we can focus on being red-blue, splashing black. We mostly curve out at 4. In fact, we basically do, because I don't think we'd ever hardcast Fallen Shinobi unless we were really in some desperate times. If we run into a lot of problems, we do have, like, Goblin Guide, Figure, Embereth, Shieldbreaker, Magda, Steamkin, Eidolon, Sulfuric Vortex, and, like, Avalanche Riders, and Manamorphose, so we could sideboard into a very, very aggressive deck if we wanted to. It wouldn't be particularly good because we don't have, like, the power-up cards for Mono Red. Like, if I had taken Mox Diamond or Chrome Mox, like, those would actually be pretty good in Mono Red, but I think we're just going to go ahead and add our dual lands. Let's take a look here. We have 3 double blue pipped spells. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources. We have 1 double red pipped spell, and it shows up at about the same frequency as our blue. We have 7 red sources, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 black spells. I think I cut a swamp for an island just to make this deck slightly better. Because 5 black sources is plenty to splash the black spells we have. Alright, let's do it. Some kind of weird Grixis control twin. I really wish I'd gotten that Duress. I think that would have made this deck a lot better. But I also maybe should be running something other than Dreadhorde Arcanist, because Dreadhorde Arcanist really isn't that great in a deck with, like, no 1-mana spells. But I guess just flashing back a Lightning Bolt or a Burst Lightning might be good enough. So, alright, I'll see you guys in round 1. Alrighty. Ooh, yeah, no, can't keep a 1-lander in a deck with no cantrips. This might work. I'm gonna put back Char, and we'll see if we can get this to work. Alright, opponent is playing a deck with mountains in it. It's the scariest land to lead on. Island. Pass the turn. Hopefully I don't get strip mined. Probably should have played out the mountain in case of strip mine, but... Alright, opponent plays Trop. And do a Boros Signet, okay. Well, they know we don't have Daze or Spell Pierce. We untap. We draw Deceiver Exarch. So I'm going to play a Swamp and play Umezawa's Jitte. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. If we could draw another island and get up to opposition, I think that'd be great. Opponent plays Polluted Delta. Cracks Polluted Delta. Gets a Swamp. They're just 4-color nonsense. Karn, Scion of Urza. You can have a Plains, opponent. So we'll untap. We draw Spire Bluff. Play Spire Bluff. Pass the turn. Now all we need to do is just top deck Splinter Twin, and we win. We know our opponent is holding a Plains that they haven't played yet. They play out an Izzet Signet. They play a Plains. They make a Karnstruct. Alright, I'm gonna flash in Pestermite. I'm gonna tap them out of white. Untap. Well, we're gonna go for it. Maybe I should have done Deceiver Exarch to play around more damage-based removal. Wow, we got there. That's exactly how we drew it up. I said we got a top deck Splinter Twin, and we top deck Splinter Twin. So, yeah, but the cat's out of the bag. Opponent knows what's going on now, so I'll see you guys in game 2. Alright, no blue mana, but in theory blue is our most drawable color. This does have double red and black, so we can play Freebooter here. I'm going to keep this. We are on the draw. Opponent plays a Tropical Island. We untap. Draw Jace. Play Mountain to play around Wasteland. Opponent plays Polluted Delta. Cracks Polluted Delta. They're probably just playing a Signet. We know they have at least 2 of them. Yep. Alright. I'm kind of feeling like my opponent has a Daze. There's nothing I can do about a Daze, but it's what I feel like is happening. Alright. We get to Freeboot. They have Smokestack Crucible of Worlds? Oh, that's so nasty. Alright, well, take Smokestack. Pass the turn. So opponent is playing stacks. So they're probably going to play Crucible and get back Polluted Delta here. And just keep fetching until they're out of stuff. The one good thing is this tells me my opponent is probably, like, more proactive than reactive. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about answers as much. We are going to have to worry about the fact that we are not drawing lands. So pass the turn, leave up Dismember. Opponent fetches an island on our end step. They untap, draw a card, play Polluted Delta, fetch with Polluted Delta. The bad thing is this means opposition is basically a dead card for us, because they're going to outpace our lands and creatures. I think if we get down in Ashiok, there's almost nothing my opponent can do about it. So I would really like to draw blue mana so I can play Ashiok. And to that end, if my opponent makes a Karnstruct here, I will Dismember it. Okay, they uptick. Well, give them a Signet. They have Oko in exile. Oh, they can Polluted Delta to... Well, we can't do anything about Oko at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent just downticks Karn to pick up Oko. And then just, like, Elks a Signet and starts beating face. Mana Crypt. Bold? I will classify that as bold. I mean, they have Oko, so in theory they can just Elk the Mana Crypt and it's no longer a problem, but... Did they play a land this turn? I feel like they played a land. We untap. We draw Bitter Blossom, which is at least something here. Go to combat. Hit Karn. Take him to 5. Opponent untaps. Loses the Mana Crypt flip. They probably downtick Karn, pick up Oko. Yep. Alright, they got an Oko. Here he comes. They Elk the Signet, but not the Crypt. That is interesting to me. So we take 3. They make a Signet. Play Creeping Tar Pit. Okay, we untap, get a Fairy. Draw Island. Play an Island. Yeah, I'm gonna play Ashiok. I'm gonna give them a target other than my face to start attacking. They exiled Rakdos' Return, Mox Jet, Dak Faden. They have a Mox, tons of Signets, Dak Faden, and Mana Crypt. That is a really, really good stacks hand. Yeah, hit our opponent for 1. This is gonna become a very weird race, I've got a feeling. So the only bad thing about playing out Ashiok there is my opponent can make it, like, Elk another random Signet, animate Tar Pit, and swing 9 at Ashiok, which would guarantee Ashiok dies. But that's a huge investment towards killing Ashiok that is not directed at anything else. And if we draw land, I could Snapcaster, Dismember, Flashback, like, pay 8 life to kill 2 things. I think we're going to just have to try and tempo. If they want to guarantee Ashiok dies, they have to swing entirely at it. And if they want to guarantee we die very quickly, they have to attack us. They attack us, attack us, attack us. Alright, well, block here. We take 6. Opponent makes a Karnstruct, plays a Mountain, passes. We make a Bitter Blossom token. We draw a Spire Bluff Canal, which unfortunately enters tapped. Start by upticking Ashiok. Because even if we just whiff entirely, we get information. There's a Metalworker and Mere Battle Ball, and the last card was a Thron Dynamo. The deck's pretty good. So we're going to play Spire Bluff Canal, and I think leave up Pestermite. I could dismember here, but most things I could dismember are not as good as having a 2-1 attacker on board. And I think the way that we're going to need to actually win is we need to Pestermite and block with this Fairy Rogue token. If they don't kill Ashiok, we can kill Ashiok to get a Battle Sphere, which is a ton of blockers, as well as a fairly decent attacker. They play an island. They fire up the Tar Pit. Go to combat. So we Pestermite. We can either tap the Construct or we can tap the Tar Pit, and I think we want to tap the Tar Pit. This way, if they only swing one thing at Ashiok, we can block it. Like, they can't just swing lethal at us and then also chip down Ashiok. They attack us, and they attack us. They could have a Lightning Bolt. Dismember becoming a very unfavorable thing to use. I'm going to leave Pestermite just on the off chance we happen to draw, I don't know, Splinter Twin, but if they've got a Lightning Bolt, they can kill us. They have Karn uptick to try and find, like, bolts. They elk the Pestermite. Well, we have 4 damage on board. They make another Construct. Okay. Oh, you know what? Bitter Blossom's going to be an issue. We draw a Swamp, so I can play a Swamp. I can -7 Ashiok to get a Battle Sphere, which will block everything on the ground, and I can full price Dismember to deal with the creeping Tar Pit. I could also just get Battle Sphere and play Opposition, and then my opponent can't attack. We have 1 turn to kill them. Get Battle Sphere, make a bunch of tokens, and then we'll play Opposition, go to combat, hit them for 1, and I think our best top deck is Lightning Bolt. They pretty much have to elk the Battle Sphere, because they can't trade for it. They could try and steal one of our creatures in exchange for like a Signet or something. So on my opponent's upkeep, we will tap Creeping Tar Pit. Okay, so there's that out of the way. They gotta somehow deal 1 damage to us. And if they don't, we just tap all of their creatures, untap and swing lethal. They can make a food and go up to 10, but we have lethal for that. They can ult Oko and take our Pestermite. So they go to combat. The real gotcha will be if they have a like a Time Warp or a Time Walk. Pretty sure I can just leave Battle Sphere to block. Okay. They play a Mountain. Opponent is very deep in the tank. I think they're trying to see if they have a way that they can actually live. But I really doubt it. Any other blockers they play, we can just tap down with Opposition on their end step. And then we just untap and kill them. If they have to think about it this hard, they probably don't have it, unless there's an awkward line that they're trying to figure out if they'll try and get me to play into. Alright, opponent scoops it up after finding they have no way to win. So I will see you all in round 2. I dislike the long queue times, but people are probably playing Time Spiral Remastered right now, which I should make a video for. Alrighty. Match number 2, and we are on the play, which is good. We have Burst Lightning, Brazen Borrower, and maybe a Rabble Master with this hand, but I think it's fine. This seems acceptably interactive. Alright. So, lead on Mountain, so that we have access to Burst Lightning. If I draw black mana, I will be playing Bitter Blossom on turn 2, almost certainly. Because just the earlier it comes down, the better it's going to be, I've got a feeling. I guess if my opponent fetched up a blue source and then just left it open, I might play Freebooter instead. Is this the same guy? No, it was a different A name. Okay. So I am going to kill a bird. We untap. We get a swamp. Land Bitter Blossom. Hope there's no daze, then there's not. Opponent plays a forest. They appear to just be the green deck. Raphellos. We get a Dismember. So play an island. Play Freebooter. Let's see what's up. They have Natural Order, Chrome Mox, and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Okay. Take Natural Order, dismember Raphelos. This is their hand, which is now a really awkward hand. Pass the turn. Opponent probably plays the forest here. Really glad we got rid of that birds, because that would have been a turn 2 Jace, potentially. So they play a forest, they get a Scavenging Ooze. We untap, make a token, draw Fallen Shinobi, which will be amazing very briefly. So, yeah, we'll play Rebel. Opponent's just going to block the token, which is fine, but attack with everybody, because most of the stuff is flying. Yeah, Fallen Shinobi against, like, the big green deck playing Raphelos just seems good, because you can always hit and then just, like, cast a Titan, and it's game over. Okay, opponent eats birds. Make Scavenging Ooze a 3/3. If we don't draw a land, and my opponent doesn't play anything, I will probably put Scavenging Ooze back in their hand with Brazen Borrower, just so we can get in a good hit with Rabble Master. They are playing Chrome Mox here, so they're probably going to exile a blue card so they can play Jace. They exile Jace. Okay. They don't want Jace in their hand. They go to combat. Pass. We untap. Make a fairy. Draw a swamp. Alright. Time for the Shinobi. Make a goblin. Go to combat. Attack. Opponent blocks. Pick up a fairy rogue. Ninjutsu. Okay. We get a Uraga Tree Speaker and an island. Play Tree Speaker. We can't play the island because we already... Okay, they're going to Venser. What do they bounce? Oh, they're going to bounce Kite Sail. Yeah, that's fine. So they get a Natural Order. Hopefully we don't just die to Craterhoof. Craterhoof 2 creatures. Just like hoof one other creature or something like that. I mean, it could be Progenitus. That would be bad. So Natural Order, getting rid of Ooze. Woodfall Primus. Hitting Bitter Blossom. Okay, this actually isn't scary at all. We untap. We draw Deceiver Exarch. So... Yeet. Go to combat. Attack with everybody. The opponent can block Rabble if they want, but then we're going to hit them with Shinobi, and that's really what we want to be doing. We get Nissa and Elvish Mystic. We have no forests in our deck, so I'm not going to search. And I'll play Freebooter again, just in case they're holding a good non-creature spell. Eternal Witness, Woodfall Primus. Neither of those beat this board. So opponent has to have a pretty insane top deck. Nice. Alright. So, Green Ramp. You know anything that's... I think I want Banefire. Honestly, it's just another removal spell. I think it's important. It's probably rare that I can opposition my opponent out, but I don't think I take out opposition. I'm gonna drop Imperial Recruiter, I think. Maybe I also bring in Languish on the off chance my opponent just builds up a huge... I'm not a big fan of that. We'll just run it back with a Banefire instead of Recruiter. Yeah, I think this hand is good, even on the draw. A Braid is early removal. We also have Brazen Borrower if we need the unsummon. Hopefully Jace can loot us into some good stuff. Opponent leads on an island. We'll lead on a mountain. Pass. I think if my opponent plays nothing, I'll play a Jace, but if they play something, I'm gonna leave up a Braid. Alright, they play nothing. We draw Banefire. Play Jace. This might bait a counterspell. Okay, it baits actual factual counterspell. Alright, opponent untaps. They play a forest. And a birds. We untap. We draw a swamp. Play a swamp. Do I Banefire the birds? We don't have any counterspells. Yeah, I'm gonna Banefire the birds. Pass the turn. Keeping dorks off the field is important because of Natural Order. It could also be important because of Craterhoof. That sort of thing. Opponent has opposition. Alright. We draw a Char. Play a mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Eternal Witness. So they're going to get Counterspell or are they going to get birds? They're gonna get birds. They play Gaia's Cradle, and they play birds. Alright. Yeet. So they get a birds, and I will abrade the birds. We untap. Draw an island. Play an island. I could play Jace and unsummon the Eternal Witness. That's actually not that bad of a line. I mean, they get to Eternal Witness again, but we're gonna have a Jace and start brainstorming. We also have a Deceiver Exarch and a Char. Opponent plays a Lotus Cobra, plays an island, adds green, then plays Deranged Hermit. That's pretty good, especially when they're going to follow that up with an opposition. We draw a mountain, brainstorm. Can't say I'm a fan. Put back some cards. Play Ashiok. Uptick. Exiling some cards from my opponent's library, which include Raphelos and Venser. Let's see if they pay the upkeep cost for Deranged Hermit, and I don't think they will. Oh, they are going to, because they can just Gaia's Cradle. Alright. I don't think I'm tapping with Deceiver Exarch. 1 at Jace. 1, 2, 3 at Ashiok. Okay, so they're trying to ensure that our Planeswalkers die. So I'm actually going to Char the Hermit to remove the most power off the board. We lose Jace, but I think Ashiok survives. Yep. Okay. Eternal Witness. Picking up Deranged Hermit. It's pretty good. Picking up Counterspell. Alright. That's fair. We've probably lost this one, and I do need to bring in Languish. Tick on my opponent. We get Woodfall Primus. Play a Swamp. Pass the turn. Yeah, I think this is actually kind of premature, but I'm gonna concede because they can do a lot of nasty stuff, including actually resolving that opposition, and they already have like more creatures than we had permanents, so there's just nothing we can do. I will bring in Languish, and I'm gonna drop Dreadhorde Arcanist. Do I want another Swamp? I have 5 black sources. I think you want 6 to splash double black on 4, but I don't really want to cut any of my red. I could bring in Manamorphose to make it easier, but I'd like to play first. Okay, this is potentially really strong, so I'm gonna keep. It's a little bit top deck reliant, and by that I mean a lot of top deck reliant, but we have a lot of good draws from this position. Like if I just draw like a Jitte or a red source, opponent starts birds. There's Jace. Play Swamp. Play Bitter Blossom. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps and draws. Plays an island. Plays out a Trigon Predator. I'd like to be able to char that. Alright, pass the turn. Trigon Predator is a problem because I have to chump it until I can answer it. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Fetches a Trop. They're going to Venser the token and then get rid of our Bitter Blossom. That's pretty good. Now our hand is really terrible. We get a Borrower. Play an island. Pass the turn. I can disperse a permanent, and I can trade Snap for Venser, potentially. They have opposition. That's really not good. Opponent goes to combat. No attacks. Well, Petty Theft opposition. Flash in Snapcaster. We untap. Draw Dak Faden. Play Jace. Brainstorm. There's the red mana. Put back Freebooter and Shinobi. Play the mountain. Pass the turn. The problem is that opposition. Yep, opponent just plays opposition. Then plays a dork. They tap down our Snapcaster, And they're gonna kill Jace. We untap, draw Fallen Shinobi. I think we have to take this as a one time that Shinobi might actually do something to win us the game. I have other options here, but pick up Snap. We get Forest Island. Play an island. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a land. They play Raphelos, which is really scary. And Elvish Mystic. And Scavenging Ooze. Alright. So they attack us for 2, which Exalted is 3. No blocks. We untap. Opponent is going to opposition us a lot. They're going to tap our mountain with Raphelos. And I'm actually going to char Raphelos. Then they're going to tap out our other lands. So we'll just cast Brazen Borrower. Oh, I shouldn't F6, because I should actually be able to play a land. Yep, this is a little bit of a problem. Especially since we've used our instant speed way to deal with opposition. Pass the turn. I can Snapcast or Char, but I actually think I'm just dead. They play a Fintorn Elves. We don't have a Cryptic. They pump up Scavenging Ooze. They hit us for 3. We untap. Draw Splinter Twin. Is there anything I can do? I guess if I hit exactly Languish Swamp off of Dak Faden uptick, that's the only way I can get out of this. And we did not get it. So I'm going to go ahead and concede. Alright, well, they get the match. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3, and we will be on the draw. I do like starting with Burst Lightning, Snapcaster. Any land gets us to Dak Faden. Any black land gets us to Ashiok. And black land plus another land gets us to Fallen Shinobi. So this feels like a decent hand versus anything that's not absurdly unfair. And it's green. So we're going to start Mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent will probably level up Tree Speaker here. So we Burst Lightning in response. To take maximum tempo away, we untap, draw Bitter Blossom, play Lava Claw, Reaches, and pass. We're not running out Snapcaster with nothing to do with it. Opponent plays Wall of Roots. We untap, draw Splinter Twin, play an island. Now we have 2 options here. We can well, 3. We can either play one of our Planeswalkers or we can play Bitter Blossom. If we play Bitter Blossom, we'll get access to Fallen Shinobi, but I think what we do is just play Ashiok here. Ashiok ticks up really quickly, has a game-winning ult, and is very disruptive to a lot of green decks. We exile 2 lands in the Sylvan Library, pass the turn. The only way that this is bad is if my opponent has, like, Questing Beast, which is possible. Green is generally pretty open. Is that exactly what this is? Oh, it's Natural Order, okay. Woodfall Primus. Alright, so there goes Ashiok. We untap and draw an island. So we play an island, and I think we go with the Bitter Blossom here. We're going to take at least 1 hit from Woodfall Primus, and we'll probably flash in Snapcaster Mage just to have an additional potential target to play play Fallen Shinobi through. Okay, we get hit for 6. Opponent plays a Forest. Acidic Slime. Okay, that is bad, especially taking out our black source, but not unbeatable. So now we're going to have to probably Snapcaster Burst Lightning to kill Acidic Slime. Draw Dreadhorde Arcanist. Yep. Let's go with the Burst Lightning play. Pass the turn. I don't want to give them the option to be able to, like, flicker it or anything like that. This Woodfall Primus, however, is a huge pain in my side. So we need to top deck a Swamp and be able to get in with Fallen Shinobi and basically hit something that is going to matter. Alright, that is not a Swamp. Play Dak Faden. Uptick on ourself. I was going to say, if we can get our tappers, we might be able to do something here. So pass the turn. We're going to leave up max prevent. Then we're going to Deceiver Exarch, Splinter Twin, hopefully for the win. Spawna goes to combat. Attacks us for 6. We block 3 of it. Go to 3. Opponent plays an Elvish Mystic. And a Gaia's Cradle. They are out. We untap. Make a fairy. Draw a mountain. Loot. Char will kill us. We don't need Jitte. Play a mountain. Pass the turn. And I'm going to tap Woodfall Primus on my opponent's upkeep. Because they are playing blue, and my opponent could draw a counterspell. If they draw a counterspell, we're dead anyway, but so I guess that doesn't really matter. We untap, lose a life, draw on a braid. Alright. Splinter Twin. Whew! 1 life! Okay, so versus a green deck like this, bring in Banefire, I'll bring in Languish, learning from my mistake last time of not having done that. And I'm gonna cut Recruiter and I think Looter Eel Core. Looter is good because we do have Fallen Shinobi, but the question is, do I want another black source? I probably should, but I'm not going to. Well, this hand is very disruptive to our opponent's stuff. If we draw a single land, we have 2 draws to do so, but no redraws. Because if we can land a Bitter Blossom and put a Jitte on it, it'll be fantastic. It's really risky, though. I am way, way more inclined to keep this hand. I'm going to put back, I think, the Borrower here. The permanent unsummon is nice, the Disperse, but I really want to have Burst Lightning, and I really want to have Dreadhorde Arcanist, and I don't really want to miss land drops. So, start with a Burst Lightning, pass the turn. Okay. We draw Splinter Twin, play an island, play Dreadhorde Arcanist, pass the turn. Opponent plays an island into a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We untap and draw Ashiok. I think because of how quickly they showed us Natural Order, I actually have to Banefire the Dryad for 2, then attack and Burst Lightning to kill it. Which prevents me from playing Lava Claw Reaches, but... And the reason I'm doing it in this order is because Banefire is a sorcery. Cast Burst Lightning. Kill Dryad. Hit our opponent for 1. Opponent untaps. They play Nissa. Getting a forest. Playing a forest. We untap. We draw Valky. Play Lava Claw Reaches. No attacks. This really sucks, because if they do have Natural Order for Woodfall Primus, we are once again almost certainly royally screwed. Mox Emerald. Primetime? Acidic Slime. That effectively accomplishes the same thing. So we need to draw, like, Deceiver Exarch Mountain. That is not either of the things that I said. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat, attacks, block here, take 2. They play Courser, they get a Lumbering Falls, and they're going to get a Finale of Devastation? Alright, well, I'd really like black mana, so I can Ashiok and get rid of that. That would be fantastic. Eternal Witness, probably picking up Dryad. Dryad Courser is a really good combo. We untap. Black Cleave Cliffs is black mana, but it is tapped. Alright. So now we're hoping for, like, Deceiver Exarch Pestermite into a successful Splinter Twin. Never mind. Well, I guess it's still theoretically possible. If we draw Deceiver Exarch or Splinter or Pestermite and then we draw Mountain, we can Splinter Twin them. Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, I think we're done here. Yep. Okay. I don't think we make any adjustments. We're just gonna run it back. I would love to play first. Bolt Banefire makes me really want to keep this hand. Especially with, like, the twin combo in it. We just need to draw lands. But I know if I keep this hand, I'm never drawing what I need to draw. So I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this is way better. Solely for the fact that it has 2 lands in it. It is effectively the same hand, too. Okay, opponent goes Forest, Mox Emerald, Devoted Druid. Devoted Druid eats a Bolt. That's a lot of mana very quickly. We untap, draw an island. Perfect. Play an island, pass the turn, leave up a Braid. I could have Braid the Mox Emerald, but I think it's better off killing like a Mana Dork. If my opponent does nothing, I may Abrade the Mox. Yeah, I'm gonna. We untap, draw an island, play an island, pass the turn. Man, we just need a mountain. But it plays a Botanical Sanctum. I don't know what the odds they have a counterspell are. Not gonna go yet. They may counter opposition if they've got it. Okay, opposition resolves. Now we have a ton of great top decks. 4 mana, their own opposition. We untap and draw Dak Faden. I want to play Dak, but I want to keep all of the cards in my hand. So I think what I'm going to do is Pestermite on their upkeep, tap Botanical Sanctum, and then tap their other island with opposition. That feels pretty good. The only problem is if they can play a creature and tap our red source, it doesn't really matter what we draw. Okay, they play Llanowar Elves. Dueling oppositions. And my opponent's deck is in a much better position to take advantage of an opposition than ours is, too. We untap. Opponent's going to tap our mountain. Okay, come on. Red source. This is not a red source. Pass the turn. We don't really need a ton of mana. I would rather keep the swamp in hand to use for Dak Faden. So I'm going to make a weird play here, and it's probably not good. But I'm going to use opposition to tap Llanowar Elves and hope my opponent doesn't have a creature. Black freaking Lotus. Natural Order. Man, maybe I should have been playing Manamorphose, because if double red was this hard, we could get double red off of just one red source. And the fact that they didn't just immediately get Woodfall Primus is either a really good or really bad sign. Wow. Okay. That's horrible for us, because now they have multiple creatures with which to opposition. And they're getting a new one every turn. So we have to draw, like, Bitter Blossom this turn, and then we still lose. Char lets us kill elementals, so we're technically not out of this yet. Pass the turn. So on our upkeep, we can Char Whisperwood Elemental. But if my opponent just, like, land Woodfall Primus, it's over. That's good. That's pretty good. 9 mana. Changed their mind. Probably just remathed. Yeah. Alright. There goes. Wow. That was pretty good. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this iteration of Vintage Cube. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And, yeah, that's really all I have to say this time. So, you're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!